The Yardbirds are a legendary band, and obviously we weren't around at the time they were putting out music.
No.
But to me, the Yardbirds are most famous, not even for their music itself, but who was in the band.
Yeah.
Right? So 3 of the most legendary guitarists that have ever lived were in that band.
Absolutely.
Number 1, obviously, we're talking about Jeff Beck here.
Yes.
So that's obvious.
Yeah.
Then we're talking about Jimmy Page.
Yes.
And then there was this other guy.
This other guitarist.
I can't remember him.
His name is Eric Clapton, but I think he's known as...
Sure?
Yeah, I think he's known as the Clap. I think that's his name.
Right. The Yardbirds had the Clap, and they had to get rid of it. Okay, so here's the thing about Eric Clapton, guys. For y'all that don't know, we joke about this all the time. We don't not like Eric Clapton.
Yeah, we actually love some of his songs. I can say that.
We love some of his songs, but we don't really like talking about him on the podcast or really anything that we do because we both agree on this separately. We didn't come up to this conclusion together.
Right.
We think he's crazily overrated.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guitarist. He's a lot better than a lot of guitarists.
At all.
But when you're talking about people like Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Rory Gallagher, Jimi Hendrix.
Exactly.
I don't think Clapton is in that category.
I don't think he's in that category. I used to actually make jokes that Richie Blackmore's solo on Smoke on the Water was Eric Clapton's whole career in a nutshell.
Yeah, so that's what we feel about Eric Clapton. Tell us how you feel. Tell us if we're dumb. I want to hear about it.
I know a lot of you will. I know we're going to upset a lot of you. So we're sorry. But he's not, let me just put it like this. He's not our top 3.
Yes, that's definitely true.
And that's it. He may be in the top 20 though.
Maybe.
But not top 3.
Anyway, back to the Yardbirds. What happened was Eric was the original guitarist.
Yes.
And he was kind of a blues purist.
Yes, that's what they're saying. Some band members say he was very uptight, and too stiff.
Yes, so he wanted the sound to be a very specific way.
Yeah.
And the Yardbirds didn't necessarily want that. They wanted to expand a little bit.
Yeah.
So Eric was like, okay, well, you guys have fun with that.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Even when the Yardbirds were making music and they were hitting on the charts and stuff, Eric was still like, oh my God, thank God I left. That is way too gimmicky for me. Let's go to the blues. So,
So Eric suggested somebody that he knew by the name of Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
And Jimmy had a very cushy job as a session player at the time.
I'm busy right now, so I can't really do it.
He was getting paid to play in other people's records. He didn't have to be on the road all the time. He was making money. It was a pretty good gig for him.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, I'm kind of busy with this session work that I'm doing, but
I do know a chap that I was friends with.
By the name
I could do a
Jeffrey.
good Jimmy.
You want to do it? Okay.
His name is Jeff Beck. You might like him. He plays pretty groovy, and I think he's quite vibey.
Oh, okay. We'll try him out. So the Yardbirds bring Jeff Beck in. And from the beginning, he was clearly always trying to innovate.
Yeah.
He was one of the first uses of a fuzz pedal was one of the first songs that he did with the Yardbirds.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yardboards?
New group coming out 2023.
That's right. Be on the lookout. He was always trying to push, fuzz, weird feedback, delay. He was really trying to push what the guitar was at the time.
Yeah.
And especially, we're talking about the 60s, and in London, everybody was all about trying to push the envelope and trying to do different things.
Yeah, it was London was definitely the creative central for rock and roll at this time.
Yes. And he's in there.
But we started it here in America.
That's right. Don't forget it. And they'll all tell you that too. Shout out to B.B. King. But yeah, so he's trying all these different things and really pushing the sound with the Yardbirds, and they're having a lot of success. I believe the Yardbirds' most successful period was when Jeff was in the band.
Yes, everybody seems to agree that was their heyday. And listening to the music, I would agree too.
Yeah.
Because I can still listen to that music, even though it's kind of quote unquote passe, I can still jam out or vibe to their music.
Yes, definitely. And the thing that's really interesting is they gave him a lot of room to do this experimentation.
Yeah.
But for him, it still wasn't enough. He really was like, I'm trying to push the boundaries as much as I can in any way. And I'm not trying to necessarily be confined to a band.
Yeah.
So even though he was still able to push the envelope while he was in the Yardbirds, his time in the Yardbirds was still relatively short. I think it was 20 months, so a year and a half.
Less than 2 years. And somebody had quite a temper when he couldn't get his way, Jeff. Some people used to jam their guitars into Marshall amps, and there were only 20 Marshall amps in America
the world.
at that time. And there goes Jeff with his South London attitude, jamming things and just getting them replaced.
That's right.
And Yardbirds said, no, we've had enough of this. You're fired.
Well, so it's interesting because for So then after this, Jeff suggested Jimmy back in the band. But for a brief time, they were both in the band.
Yes.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
To hear it. I mean, it doesn't sound that crazy at the time because, Jimmy hadn't, done what he did.
Yeah.
And Jeff hadn't done everything that he was going to do. But if you're hearing about this now, you're like, wait, so you had a band. It was a dual lead guitar lineup with Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page? That sounds like it's made up.